Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast battle report. Today we have 1500 points of the Dark Olympiad against 1500 points of the Ancient Enemy. Let's begin. Hello and thank you for tuning in to SkaredCast. This is another Warhammer 40,000 battle report. So, today we're playing Mission 5 of the Maelstrom of War missions, Cloak and Shadows. So we have to keep our objectives secret from the enemy as we play, and you generate 3 every turn. So you can see the objectives there, all numbered quite nicely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And we have the Dark Olympiad, 1500 points, versus 1500 points of Necrons. 3 flyers in reserve with 2 units of warriors and immortals with cryptex in each unit. 2 annihilation barges. A overlord in a command barge with all the bells and whistles. A destroyer lord with the wraiths. Warlord trait was feel no pain for the barge lord. My warlord trait I chose to roll on the tactical objective table, and I can force my opponent to discard one of their cards at some point at the end of one of my turns. It's a 1 use only. And other than that, Fred, who's come to play, is getting to choose whether to go first or second, so we'll be back right after this. Necron, turn 1. The Necrons advanced. We had the Annihilation Barge move over here. The Catacomb Command Rod boost up to here. The Wraiths move and run, and 1 Annihilation Barge staying near that Scatterfield objective. This is nothing of note, that is nothing of note, and this is a Skyfire Nexus that has been unlocked. Fred, do you have any tactical objectives to capture?
It says score die 3 victory points if you control at least 2 objective markers and at least twice as many objective markers as your opponent controls.
Fantastic. So he's getting D3 for, is it Supremacy?
It is Supremacy.
Yeah, Supremacy. And he's going to roll his D3 for 2 objectives.
Nice.
Awesome. So he's 2 up on the Dark Eldar. And now we're moving on to Dark Eldar, turn 1. In a fit of glory and rage, we moved back. And Farseer succeeded in presidencing the Ravager and did nothing else. Everything else shuffled and fired into this Annihilation Barge, putting 2 pens on it, putting 2 hull points on it, and forcing it to jink and snapshoot at the same time, and putting 1 wound on a Wraith. Other than that, I have 3 objectives. I'm going to discard secure objective 5, and I'm going to use my Warlord trait, forcing Fred to get rid of the only card he has in his hand and throwing it away, which was Recon, which I kind of gathered because he was trying to see what all the objectives were, so I knew he was trying to do Recon, and he was 2 away from Recon, so I had to get rid of that one so he didn't get any points for that. And now he's going to roll for his reserves. He has 3 Knight scythes to come on.
So blue dice are the warriors, the black dice is the immortals.
Everything comes in. So we had all the Knight Scythes show up in a crisscross formation, ready to attack the Dark Eldar on turn 3, since I moved far enough that he couldn't shoot me with any of them, and he was smart enough not to move them 36 inches up, so I wouldn't boost behind them in order to negate them from the game for another 2 turns. He moved this Annihilation Barge back there that has 1 hull point left, and he boosted his command barge up the front. We're playing that it is affected by the 3+ invulnerable save all round, so he's just getting in there ready to cause some havoc. The Wraiths moved up and ran, and they discovered another Scatterfield generator, and my Ravager is just playing wobbly model and, you know, falling all over the place. Don't worry about it, Fred. And we will see. Fred has drawn another 3 tactical cards, and he wants to see what they are. So let's see what he's already 2 points up, and not 1 shot has been fired on the Necron flank. So what do you have there, Fred?
I have 2 cards I can score, secure objective 5 and a secure objective 3.
So he has both objective 5 and objective 3 with the Annihilation Barges, bringing his total up to 4, and the Dark Eldar total to 0. We're moving on to Dark Eldar, turn 2, and I do have a variety of reserves to come in. I decided to keep quite a lot in reserve because I was hoping Skari's Gaze would go off, but it did not go off last turn. So, Deep Striking Hellions. They arrive. Razorwing arrives. Reaver jet bikes arrive. Eldar jet bikes arrive. I jumped forth and murdered the Wraiths and the Destroyer Lord, losing 2 witches. In the Psychic phase, just a note, I did roll 6 dice, so I had 9 dice, and I failed to cast any powers, because most of my powers are Mastery level 2, and they require 2 Warp Charge. So, Fred negated the 4-up invul on the Hellions, and then I failed to cast anything else, which was interesting. I charged in against the Catacomb Command Barge with these witches, and I put a hull point on, losing 1 model to a Mind Shackle Scarab. He's now locked in combat. The Razorwing failed to do any damage against that Night Scythe in the back there, but forced it to jink, and these jet bikes moved up to objective secure, objective 3. So I have taken 2 points this round, secure objective 3 and secure objective 1, as well as first blood for killing the Annihilation Barge that was back here with the Ravager, and not Warlord because the Command Barge is the Warlord. So we're moving on to Necron, turn 3. Let's see what happens. We had this Night Scythe move up, unload this unit on that objective, shoot and put 2 hull points on the Razorwing, stunning it. We had both these Night Scythes move up. This one still has warriors in it. This one doesn't. It unloaded the Immortals. The Annihilation Barge fired into the now non-existing jet bikes as the Immortals were forced to rapid fire and shoot into them in order to take them off that objective. And both Night Scythes fired into the 8 Hellions, killing 5. Thanks to some lucky armor saves and some low Tesla rolls, but they failed their morale test and they are falling back. In combat, the Barge Lord has figured out how much of a tar pit these witches are, and that is a tied combat with nothing happening at all. So now we're moving on to Dark Eldar turn 3, but the Necrons might have some tactical objectives to secure.
So I've scored them all. One of them is score a point if you issue a challenge.
Okay.
Another one is objective marker 3 over here.
Okay.
And the other one is if you control 3 objective markers, score die 3 points. So I got 3, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so Ascendancy.
Die 3 for
He's
Ascendancy.
doing another D3 victory points for 1.
Come
so
on,
he
you're
is
supposed to win the game.
3 points. So now the total is up to 7 points. 2 tactical, and then there's first blood on the Dark Eldar side. What a crazy turn. The Reaver jet bikes blade veined the misfortuned warriors and killed 1 who stayed down. The Raider moved here to take and boosted, take that objective. The Witches and Succubus got into that Raider, moved into the central position. The Beast Pack moved out to charge the Immortals, charged them, well, forced them to go to ground. With rending shots from the Farseer, charged them and killed everybody, ran them down except for the Cryptek, who might stand up, we'll see. This Venom boosted up here to take that objective. These Cavalite Warriors got out of that Venom to take that objective. The Ravager forced the Annihilation Barge to jink, and the Hellions rallied. In combat here, the Tomb Lord killed my Hecatrix in the challenge, and the Mind Shackle Scarabs did not kill anybody, but he's got 1 hull point left to try and come back. So now we're moving on to Necron turn 4, and I am revealing 2 objectives. I have issue a challenge for a victory point. So I issued a challenge in this combat here, and I got a victory point. And control 3 objective markers. Ascendancy as well, the same one he got last turn. I raise you an Ascendancy to your Ascendancy to take D3 victory points. So I will roll my D3 and get 2. We have the guys that were on here jumped back to the Night Scythe, and the Night Scythe moved here. The Night Scythe dropped these guys off and flew off the board, and then the Night Scythe that was back here moved up here. The Annihilation Barge wrecked the Venom. The warriors got behind that wall there to negate that objective, and the warriors are there. In shooting, the Hellions all died, and this Night Scythe blew up the Venom. And now we have to do this combat right here. And the Witches took out the last hull point from the Barge Lord, and he did not get back up. He was thwarted by Witches. And then we have tactical objectives. What do you have, Fred?
Let's see here. No prisoners. Score 1 victory point if an enemy unit was completely destroyed in your turn.
Okay, that was the Hellions.
Between 3 and 5, score die 3.
Okay, so he just killed
3.
Oh right, yeah, he killed 2 Venoms and Hellions. That's another D3 points. He's maximizing on those points.
A 1 again.
1 point. Necrons are still winning, by the way. 8 points to 5.
And objective 2.
Okay, and score objective 2, which he has over here. Okay, so my Razor Wing is coming back on, and we're going on to Dark Eldar, turn 4. So I got the Witches out, cast Forewarning on them, charged them into the Annihilation Barge. They blew it up, losing 2 of their number. Farseal moved on to that objective. Reaver Jet Bikes moved on to Scatterfield. I charged into this unit with a Beast Pack and killed all of them. I put 1 hull point on this Night Scythe. Both the Razor Wing, both Raiders, and the Ravager all tried to fire it to try and take it out of the sky, but that failed. But I do have all 6 objectives under my control. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which gives me domination. That's D3 plus 3 victory points for 6 total victory points. And now we're moving on to Necron, turn 5. So, in turn 4, I also scored objective 6 for another point. The score is now 12 points to 9 for the Necrons. The domination pulled the Dark Eldar up. In the Necron turn 5, both flies flew off the board with the objective secured troops. And this Night Scythe came on, he drew Scour the Skies, so he came on and blew my Razor Wing out of the sky for another point. So right now, it's 10 to 12, and we'll see if I can knock that Night Scythe out of the sky to cause a tabling. We shall see. We moved up, tried to shoot everything into the Night Scythe, and didn't do any damage, so I didn't force a tabling, but I did capture objective number 5 and objective number 4 again for 2 more points, bringing my total up to 14. So we'll roll to see if it continues. Fred, do the honors.
I think it's done now.
And it is.
It's done.
That's done. That is game. Fred, do you have any final comments?
Okay.
Awesome. So this was the next game for the Dark Olympiad. Quite an intense game. The Dark Eldar were losing until the very end, where they came with a full domination. Fred's first time playing against Witches. He had no idea that they could go and knock out a command barge so quickly with haywire grenades, and that was definitely a rude awakening. Thanks a lot for watching. Make sure you stay tuned for the Tactical Corner. Hello and welcome to another Tactical Corner. So, the mission, Cloak and Shadows. So the objectives, made sure I placed them in the center of the table. I wanted to bait Fred into staying close to the center. Now, I knew that he would move up aggressively with some of his force, and I just played chicken for the first turn. I really didn't let him shoot anything, which meant his second turn was rather ineffective, because he wanted to get points, so he moved key units backwards in order to attack. Now, there was a couple of key moments in the game. One was my Witches taking on the Overlord barge with their haywire grenades, and me being able to pounce on the Wraiths and Destroy Lord with my other Witch unit and Succubus and Beast Pack, then freeing me to get into the center of the board and pretty much have the control of all the objectives, even if he had his flyers flying around. And from that, turn 2 and 3, I was really able to dictate
the pace of the game as it developed. Now, the Necrons did have the upper hand in terms of objectives for pretty much the entire game, considering the first and second turns I didn't really advance out. And I was able to really put the pressure on and capitalize on my tactical objective cards, especially with that domination on turn 5, granting me 6 points in one fell swing. All in all, this was a fantastic showing for the Dark Olympiad. I'm really enjoying learning how to play the game. Be creative, conservative, and aggressive when you need to be. Thanks for watching.